After finishing my snowflake and snowdrop studies, I wanted to continue exploring flowering bulbs, this time focusing on Amaryllis and Agapanthus. Both of these genera are known for their striking blooms, but they offered very different challenges when it came to illustration. Amaryllis felt bold and sculptural, while Agapanthus was delicate and complex, demanding a whole new level of patience. So here I'll walk you through my studies of these two fascinating plants and share what I learned along the way. I've been fascinated by the Amaryllis genus, not the popular potted flowers sold during the holidays, but the real Amaryllis, the original belladonna lilies from South Africa. After diving deep into snowdrops and snowflakes, which were really beautiful flowers, I was surprised to find myself curious about another flowering bulb, but this is understandable. It has a striking silhouette and a curious botanical history. Amaryllis, as it turns out, is a small genus with only two accepted species, Amaryllis belladonna and Amaryllis paradisicola. What makes it especially interesting is the long-standing confusion between Amaryllis and Hippeastrum. For years, plants now known as Hippeastrum native to South America were also referred to as Amaryllis, creating quite a bit of taxonomic debate. This was finally resolved in 1987 when the name Amaryllis was officially conserved for the South African plant. Even now, it's common to see Hippeastrum bulbs labeled Amaryllis in shops, though true Amaryllis belongs to a different lineage entirely. Amaryllis belladonna is native to the fynbos regions of the Western Cape. Its blooms appear on tall, leafless stems in late summer or early autumn, which is why it's often called naked lady. The leaves emerge in a different time, either in spring or autumn depending on rainfall, and die back before the flowers appear. This staggered growth is called hysteranthi, and it gives the plant a mysterious presence as if the blooms emerge from nowhere. Visually, these flowers are incredibly elegant, funnel-shaped with widespread tepals in shades ranging from soft pink to deep magenta. In older cultivars, the flowers are often side-facing, but newer hybrids developed in places like Australia show more upright, full-circle blooms with waning stripes and center highlights. I found this diversity inspiring to study, especially in botanical illustration form. The variety of hues and shapes in their hybrids make them feel like a perfect mix of natural grace and artistic drama. In the wild, Amaryllis belladonna has some fascinating ecological interactions. It's pollinated mainly by carpenter bees and hog moths. At night, the flowers release a sweet fragrance rich in linalool and nectar to attract these pollinators. The seeds are soft, pinkish, and large, and they germinate quickly with the first winter rains. But it takes patience. A seedling may take 3 to 6 years to bloom. That kind of slow reward feels very much in line with how I approach drawing and studying plants. The plant's natural habitat can be rocky or sandy, often affected by bushfires which trigger blooming. This resilience, this ability to thrive after fire and drought is something that really speaks to me. It is inspiring for visual storytelling. And like many striking plants, Amaryllis is toxic to both humans and animals. The very traits that make it beautiful are the ones that protect it from harm. Cultivating Amaryllis is relatively easy in mild climates. They prefer being left undisturbed, need very little water during dormancy, and multiply slowly by offsets or seeds. In colder regions, they require a little more care, either heavy mulching or lifting and overwintering indoors. I ended up creating a page entirely dedicated to Amaryllis studies, experimenting with the shape of their blooms and the structure of their flowering stalks. I didn't aim for scientific perfection, more like an observational exploration to help build a memory of their form. I've noticed that these types of quick studies are training my visual memory, helping me feel more confident when I want to draw flowers from imagination. After working on Amaryllis, I thought I was ready to take on another flowering bulb, but when I sat down to study Agapanthus, also known as the African lily, I quickly realized I was in for a much more intricate challenge. These plants may look soft and graceful from afar, but when you start to draw them, you see just how complex their structure really is. Agapanthus is a small but widely cultivated genus native to southern Africa. I chose to illustrate 4 species, focusing on variety in color, form, and petal arrangement. Their flowers are usually shades of blue, violet, or white, and they grow in dense, rounded umbels held aloft on tall, sturdy stalks. At a glance, they seem like simple, pretty blooms, but up close, every head contains dozens of tiny tubular flowers, each with its own curvature, petal alignment, and delicate markings. These were honestly some of the hardest flowers I've ever tried to draw. What made them so difficult was not just the detail but the repetition. Drawing one flower is manageable, but a whole cluster, capturing the overall spherical shape while also paying attention to the direction and overlap of each individual floret. It took patience and a lot of trial and error compared to Amaryllis, which has broad, dramatic flowers with clear symmetry. Agapanthus feels like a tangled constellation. Everything is in motion, and it's easy to lose track of where one bloom ends and the next begins. I think Agapanthus has a strong graphic quality, especially when viewed only as a flower head. The circular arrangement of the flowers creates a radial pattern that's really striking, and I think that's part of what makes them so beloved in gardens. They look organized and while at the same time symmetrical from a distance but chaotic when you zoom in. In terms of world building, I think Agapanthus could inspire some really elegant and refined flora, maybe ornamental plants in palace garden or luminous, soft-textured species that grow around sacred pools. There's something ceremonial about their form, like they were designed for ancient rituals. Despite the challenge, I'm really glad I took the time to work through these studies. Even if some flowers didn't turn out exactly how I hoped, they taught me a lot about rhythm and how to suggest complexity without overworking every detail. Drawing Agapanthus stretched my hand and eye in new ways. These flowers may have been hard to draw, but they reminded me why I do these studies in the first place, to better see, to better imagine, and to slowly build the visual memory I'll need when I start creating something original, maybe. And this page was such a joy to work on. I think exercises like these, observing, breaking down, sketching, are quietly building something bigger. They help me learn from nature, but also move closer to designing the botanical world I imagine. I hope to continue with other species studies like these. So, see you in the next one.